So let's say the unthinkable happens and your primary credit card processing service, for whatever reason, goes down and they are unable to process payments on your behalf, and basically your store is dead in the water. You can either A, sit around and wait, hoping the crisis blows over, or B, take a more proactive stance on the situation and do what you can to configure your store so that it lessens the impact on your customers and they're still able to get through checkout. Let me show you how you can do that by setting something up called a fallback payment method. Log into your store admin and click into payment settings. And in this list of modules, you want to find the one called credit card payment with simple validation. Go ahead and check mark it, click on the update button, and it will generate a credit card payment with simple validation tab on top of the screen. Click into it and you will see it's already configured to offer 4 different credit card types: American Express, Discover, MasterCard, and Visa. If any one of these cards is not a card that you want to be offering your customers, just go ahead and check mark the card that you don't want and hit update, and it will be removed from the list. Otherwise, you are now offering these options to your customers, and it's going to look something like this. Right now, with the credit card payment with simple validation turned on and configured, when a customer goes through checkout, they're going to see something like this. The drop-down payment menu is going to have 2 sets of credit cards, and what's happening here is the top set of credit cards, those cards are being pulled into this menu powered by your primary credit card processing module, and this second set of credit cards down here is actually being loaded into this module via the new fallback method that we just set up. Obviously, you don't want to be in this state. Customers would be confused, and you have a 50-50% chance that the customers will pick the wrong module that you want them to be using. So let's go back into the admin and complete this fallback setup. Back inside the payment settings screen, click into the tab that represents your primary payment module. In this case, it's our Chase Payment Tech Orbital Gateway. Scroll down to the bottom of your primary payment module, and you will see an area called Available Payment Methods, and it lists out different credit cards. Anything that's checked marked is what you're offering to the customer at checkout, and that card gets listed in that drop-down menu. So all you have to do in this time of crisis is remove these check marks, hit update, and if I refresh this screen here, we can now see that we are only offering 1 set of the credit cards, and these credit cards are being loaded into the menu via the fallback method. And that's the way we want it until the crisis blows over. Let me complete this checkout process, and we'll talk about kind of the workflow on handling an order that you receive while in this fallback method state. Oops. Okay, I just generated a test order. It's 1065. If I go into the admin, I'm going to go into manage orders. You may or may not know this, but up on top of the admin screen, there is a shortcut button called view orders that takes you into the manage orders area. I like that. It's really quick and easy to get to. Otherwise, you can just click on manage orders. It's the same place. Here you can see the order we created, 1065. If you click into it, you'll see a tab called credit card payment with simple validation. That's because this order was received by your store and it was accepted via the credit card payment with simple validation module. Now, the thing you want to keep in mind about the credit card payment with simple validation module is that it has no ability to actually process a credit card order. The only thing it can do is collect credit card information, and you can manually collect that info and manually process it at a later time so that you can still get customers through checkout and you can still collect money from them, and your customer's shopping experience isn't interrupted even though your primary payment service is down. So backing up here, there is one other thing that you want to know if you're going to be using the credit card payment with simple validation fallback method. Because you're collecting the customer's credit card information and you're storing it in your database, you really need to be setting up what we call the order encryption. Order encryption takes the credit card information and locks it away. When you log into your store admin, you have to use a password to get access to the admin. But if you're storing credit cards, there's another layer of security that you should have set up in your store, and that's called order encryption. And it's another essentially password to access that sensitive information. Setting up order encryption, if you're going to be storing credit card information, that's part of being PCI compliant, and that's just part of being a responsible merchant. You can see that the credit card info here is not accessible to me, and that there's a padlock icon up here, and that tells me that this order information is protected by order encryption. So let me walk you through what I did earlier to set up order encryption. In the admin, order encryption is down here on the left hand side. Just click into it. Click on add encryption key. To add an encryption key, you just click on this button here called add encryption key, and you want to check mark current to let the system know that this is the encryption key that you want the system to be using every time it encrypts an order. The encryption prompt, that's basically a question or a hint that reminds you what the passphrase is. For instance, my favorite color is, and then you need to enter a passphrase that's at least 16 characters long. It needs to have letters and numbers, possibly a punctuation character, or else it won't accept it. But just punch one in here and hit add. I won't actually hit add for this because I have two. And when you create an encryption key, or if you create a few encryption keys, they're going to be listed here, and this column will have one checkbox letting you know which encryption key is actually being used at the moment. And here, this column called reference count, it actually tells me how many orders have been encrypted by these particular encryption keys. And this one, what is my birthday? You can see it's got one order encrypted using that encryption key. And if I click edit for that encryption key, there's an orders tab which I can click on, and it will tell me which order numbers were encrypted by this encryption key. All right, so going back to managing that order that came into the system via our fallback method, I'm going to click into it, and basically I received this order. I am ready to fulfill it. I just need to collect money from this customer as a merchant. I'm going to log in here, click on the padlock. It's going to prompt me for my encryption key. Notice that it gave me that prompt that we typed earlier, and I have to remember what I set up the passphrase to be. If I forget what the passphrase is, if I don't remember what letters I I had uppercase and lowercase. If I get one character wrong and I can't remember what it was, I am out of luck, and there's no way to recover this order information unless I have the correct passphrase. So do not forget what your passphrase answer is. Okay, so I just typed in my passphrase correctly, and you can see that the padlock is now unlocked, and the system is now providing me with the credit card information that the customer entered at checkout. I can copy this down, and I can log into my payment processor's gateway and punch it in manually and collect the funds that way. All right, so let's say I get word from my primary credit card processor letting me know that the crisis has blown over, and I can turn on their module again, and I can shut off my fallback method. Let me show you what happens if you try to turn off the fallback method. You just go back to payment settings, remove the checkbox for credit card payment with simple validation, and hit update. It's going to let me know that it cannot currently uninstall this module because it's currently in use by at least one order, possibly more. Now that's a safety feature we have installed into Miva Merchant, where Miva Merchant will refuse to remove a module that is being used. So what do? Well, you could either delete the order from your system that is using this module, or you can just deactivate it and reactivate it if you need it again at a later time. Now, to deactivate the module, scroll to the top here on the left and click the plus sign for global settings. Click on modules. I'm just going to do a search for simple. And here is credit card payment with simple validation. Edit that module, and there is a checkbox for active. I'm going to remove the check, which means I'm deactivating it. Hit update, and it's no longer going to appear as an option to my customers at checkout. So now I have that removed. I want to go into payment settings. I want to go back into the tab for my primary credit card processor and scroll down. I'm going to recheck all of the different credit card types that I did offer, and I want them back. Actually, I don't normally accept Diners Club. I'm going to check mark it again, just so you can have a reference that when I refresh the screen, there it is. So all of these credit cards in this menu, all of them are being loaded in using my primary credit card processor again. So that is how you want to turn off the fallback method and reinstate your primary payment method. And if you ever need to get back to the fallback method, you just go back into global settings, modules, pull up credit card payment with simple validation, and recheck that activate checkbox and hit update.